Esper here, bringing you the race 1 and 2 highlights. We start off with River Canyon Chaos on Microtech, as racers get ready to brave the river walls in a negative 64 degrees Celsius Microtech in the black of night. As the racers begin, we were looking good into the first River Canyon pass, and then the course started claiming some dragonflies. The first 2 laps proved to be a challenge for a lot of our competitors, as we lost 10 of the fastest racers in the verse, proving that steady racing may get you more points than all-out speed. Going into lap 3, we had 4 competitors left: Star Prime Racing, Delta Dietis, Catcom Alpha, and Blackhawks leading the pack. After 5 laps, Ludox from Blackhawks took first place with a time of 37 minutes and 45 seconds and a best lap of 6:46. Czech Leak from Delta Dietis secured second place finish, as Circa Worm from Catcom Alpha caught a tree 200 meters out from the finish line, dropping them back to third. Here are your leaders that managed to pick up some points going into race 2. Competition was heating up in Cold Snap, where racers ran 6 heats to determine our winners. In heat number 1, it was secured by Lease Motorsports with a 735. They were neck and neck with Venture Origins going into lap 4, but Venture Origins went out with a bang coming down Prime Drift. More exploding Noxes in heat number 2, where Catcom Alpha took the victory with an 835, and Argo Navis took that runner-up slot. The sun finally came out for our racers on Heat 3, and this course still plagues Ludox again this year as he blows up with a collision with Star Prime Racing in the first lap, allowing Amarok's Fang to take the heat with a 713. Heat 4 was some tight competition, but Punch Nomis pulls ahead victorious with a 635 to fill out the finals heat, and Novak Racing taking second place for our runner-up heat. In the runner-up finals, Tyrus Rex from Garden Racing shows that having a paint job just might bring you some extra luck, as he finishes first, getting 6 points for his team in race number 2. The finals heat was a tight one all the way through, but not without its explosions, as half the racers didn't make it to that final lap, trying to keep up with the amazing sub-120 laps from Gerbo the Gnome, as Punch Nomis takes first place in race number 2 with a finish time of 6 minutes and 41 seconds, giving themselves 25 points. Amarok's Fang picked up that second place finish. And after 2 races, we have no clear leader, meaning that the next 4 races going into the finals mean even more. It's still tight between the 1 through 6 slots, and the first or second place finish could put any of our racers right back in the mix. So I expect to see some fierce competition out on the track in today's events.
Oh, 7 Star Citizens, and welcome to race number 3 of ATMO Esports' System 7, presented by EQNX. I am joined here today. Sorry, I've got stuff in my throat. I am joined here today by my good friend Maya. Maya, how you doing? How's your week been?
I'm doing good, man. My week has been filled with nothing but Evocati stuff, man. Nothing but just 2.32 or 2.3 even, hopping around, just doing some crazy things. What about yourself?
Yeah, pretty much the same. 323 has been insane. It's been a wild thing to experience over the course of really only the last couple of days, right? I only went to wave 1 maybe like 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So
Yeah.
it's been a short period of time for us to get to experience what the next patch is going to be and what it might have for racing and just like the game as a whole. I do have to mention, Maya, did you see the private lobbies?
I have. I've seen so much. I haven't slept, Croncy. I've seen everything. I continue to see. There was a new patch last night. I mean, I've seen everything.
Yep. Yeah, it's been pretty damn dope. But yeah, so that's something that you guys need to make sure you look out for, because 323 is going to change the scope of also how even we do events like this and stuff in the future. So it's a very, very important one. Now, before we get started with what's going on today and and check out what's going on with the races. We want to remind you guys about a very cool event coming up. We're doing in conjunction with Avenger Squadron. We're doing a charity event. We're doing a little fight or flight for kids. So this is going to be a really, really cool event on June 8th. You should be able to right now, if you're on the Twitch chat, you can go !kids, and you can already start to donate some stuff to that if you're able to. We would super appreciate it. It's an absolutely fantastic cause. And if you haven't seen any of these like fight or flight type tournaments before, they're really, really cool. The biggest thing about it though, Maya, is, I mean, we were just talking about 323. This is going to be during 323. This is going to be master modes.
Exactly. So master modes, but also private lobbies as well. Like, it's going to be so easy to get groups in and just organize events like this. The last time we had an event like this in this kind of way was, like back in like 263 with the SC4. It's going to be so cool to see, I guess this level of competition with this level of like competitive integrity, like in StarCitizen again. I mean, like it's going to be a pretty historic one, honestly, because like it's going to be the first of its kind that we've had, at least at this scale. So going forward, it's going to be, like the litmus test, right? Like from this, we'll see exactly what we can do for the future of SC.
Yeah, 100%. You're right on the money there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you guys come and check that out on June 8th. I know that I will be watching because I love this sort of stuff. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Next up, another event that we want to talk to you guys about is Beacon, or Beacon, as I call it. It's got a little ad symbol. That was a terrible joke. Anyway, this is essentially the biggest, once again, as far as I'm aware, the biggest gathering of Star Citizens outside of CitizenCon every year. And it's an absolutely fantastic event. And you can see in the bottom right corner there, there's a familiar face. That's right. Tarada will be attending Beacon 2024. No, of course. Of course, Maya, you're going to be there. Should be a lot of fun. Tell the people about it a little bit.
Yes, so Beacon, Beatcon, like whatever you want to call it, is the biggest European Star Citizen convention. I think second to CitizenCon. I believe like they might even have more people than CitizenCon at this point. Like it's a big Star Citizen sci-fi. It's got Star Wars, DCS, Flight Simulator, everything gaming, all in one place in. Correct me if I'm wrong. Liège, in I think it's Liège in Belgium. I'll tell you how it's pronounced when I get there. but yeah, it's gonna be huge. Like the last Beacon, I think we had Brian Chambers, the Squadron 42, like a head honcho from the Frankfurt office, showing up and stuff. And he used to show up at BrizzCon, like in the UK every now and then. And he'd always come with like nuggets of development information and stuff, telling us like all the new hotness and stuff that's coming in Star Citizen. Like it's gonna be really cool. Like CIG will be fronting devs to this event too. So like yeah, like I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be my first time.
Yeah, awesome. Seems like it's going to be a good time. All right, let's talk a little bit about why we're here today. System 7. If you're not familiar with the System 7, this is ATMO Esports' kind of like F1 style series where essentially you go through 7 different races. We had some qualifiers. We got the 16 best races in the verse, and you get some points to chuck onto your leaderboard to try to win some stuff for the end of the series. And our first 2 races that we did 2 weeks ago, they were big. They were very intense. Yep. We had our first race over on Microtech, one of the river races, which was one that we did last year, and it was explosive, to say the least. It was very, very cool to check out. If we can, we'll get the leaderboard up so you guys can have it. Oh, here you go. This works as well. Yep. Yeah, the River Canyon Chaos, one of my favorite tracks, but incredibly dangerous. Dangerous, this track, and that was certainly proven. But we had an absolutely
surprisingly more dangerous than I would have expected it as well, to be honest, because like I think we lost like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 Gravlev bikes entering the lake, which you would think would be like the easiest and smoothest part of it, but transitioning into the lake as it moves, as the Gravlev adjusts, it can be a little bit finicky.
It can, for sure, yeah. It's also something that we've encountered a lot. Part of this track is also in Arena Commander right now. If you want to go check out River Canyon, I believe is what it's called on Arena Commander. If the Gravlevs are available right now, they may not be. Next time they're up, make sure you check that out. And yeah, that definitely is an obstacle that our competitors, it can be really, really tough to get through. But the track itself, I think, is really cool. I'm hoping with some of the new water physics, because we were just talking about 323. Imagine doing this track with the new water physics, and you're seeing all of the water brush off the sides of the of the gravel.
With a fleet of graveler vehicles. Did you, by the way, speaking of water physics, Croncy, did you see that one video that somebody posted of dropping an A2 bomb into the water of Hurston?
I did. That is absolute chaos. And CIG, please don't patch it out. It's so funny. It's so funny. But yeah, so an absolutely fantastic performance there. I believe Blackhawks took that one down in our first race. And then we had a first race. This was a double race day, which I believe is the first time that we had done that over the course of any System 7. We're going to be doing it another time as well. And so we moved straight on to our Noxes. We got on some Noxes. We headed over to Cold Snap, which this racetrack may actually end up being one of my favorites of the entire series ever that we've had, purely by just how well the track was designed. Absolutely fantastic. We saw some insane speeds. Gerbo the Gnome from Team Punch Gnomies managed in the finals to pull off a 1:19.309, which is a solid 6 seconds ahead of the average that we saw over the course of the entire event. So it was just insane speed. People were blacking out on some of the turns as they came around some of the edges, especially there just after the. So I'm trying to find the specific turn. There's a lot of named turns here.
The Black Ice Straight, I think it was, right?
Yes,
they turned
the Black
right.
Ice Straight. Yeah, as soon as they came around the Black Ice Straight and they go down that section there, yeah, just smashing into the sides, going black out. It was super cool, though, that they were pushing the Noxes that far. We did not use the Origin X1 Velocity, just for reference. We did use the Nox, as we had to make a change. If you've flown the X1 Velocity in the live patch anytime recently, you know why we did that. But yeah. Punch Gnomies managed to pick that one up, and so we ended up with a pretty solid leaderboard start, and we've got some great sort of action that we're going to see over the course of the next couple of weeks, as you can see the leaderboard evolve. So Team Punch Gnomies and Blackhawks equal first at the moment on 26 points. Catcom Alpha, Amarok's Fang, and Delta Diotis right next to each other, fighting for those positions, and then Least Motorsport also with a very solid start, thanks to the last two races. This is going to evolve a lot more, but you can already sort of see these are the teams that we're likely going to see in the top 8. However, you get 25 points for a single race win. So until we get to, maybe race 4, race 5, that's when we're going to see what the top 8 is going to sort of start to solidify as, we're going to see where everyone's going to need to maybe catch up on some points a little bit. But Maya, how are you liking the look of the leaderboard so far?
Well, I mean, if the energy in chat is anything to go by, with only 2 races down, nobody is to be discredited, especially Premier Corps Colonial right now, because again, if they had to come first in this next race, that's 25 points, Croncy, which will be bringing them into the front, especially if, Punch Gnomies and Blackhawk don't have necessarily a great run today as well. As it stands, it's still anybody's race, but after today, I'm sure we're going to start seeing which one of these forerunners are going to be splitting ahead and showing us the path and showing us who is going to be the fastest racer in the verse, Croncy.
Yeah, a reminder as well, Punch Gnomies, Blackhawks, and Amarok's Fang were our top 3 of last year. And once again, this year, 2 races in, proving once again why they were in that position last year.
That's right.
It's great to see them perform again, but it's great to see a little bit of competition fighting them this year. Now, what are you guys going to see today? We're at race number 3. We're almost halfway through. We're going very, very close to the halfway mark. We're going to be heading over to Clio for what has become one of my favorite races that we do in the System 7, and I hope we continue to do over and over again because it's just a fantastic racetrack. The track that started it all, at least for the PU, for official racetracks, Snake Pit. We're heading over to Snake Pit. We've converted it into a Cyclone RC track where you might notice that really long stretch, that straight stretch over there. No, they are not driving up and down the hills. That is a pipe. That is a pipe that stretches the entire length of the track that they're going to have to operate over. And Maya, I need to tell you, last year, when we did this race, first off, it was not reverse. We were doing it the regular way around. But in addition, the Cyclone had a lot more speed, had a lot more boost, had a lot more traction. All of that's been removed now. The Cyclone RC does not longer have any of those things, which is going to make this a little bit of a slower race, which is okay. It was very, very fast last time. I think we finished it in like 24 minutes, something very quick.
Right.
But it's going to be incredibly interesting once people get up onto that pipe.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it again because before the Cyclone RC used to be the flagship vehicle for racing within the System 7. Previously, the Stanton 7. We're wearing our Stanton 7 shirts here. The OG ones. Well, you have the OG one, and I have the curtains closed blackout edition one. But yeah, back then the RC had that rocket boost, and I'm sure it's going to be coming back at some point. I do believe that the Origin G12 also has a racer as well, and there's supposed to be elements to it. But for now, it's had its fangs clipped, its wings clipped, or it's not the same RC necessarily. However, I do believe it is still on the faster side when it comes down to wheeled vehicles at this point in time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I'll level with you, Croncy. I haven't actually taken a Cyclone to Snake Pit before this race. I don't know. Do you know if the pipe they drive over is completely smooth, or are there bands and rivets connecting the pipe together? How bumpy is that ride?
That's an interesting question because it can be bumpy, but not in the places that you might expect. There's going to be a couple of points along the pipe that are not what you would expect. And so we're going to probably see in a couple of instances, I believe, right at the start and then towards the middle, there's two spots where you can accidentally end up shooting yourself off the side of the pipe if you go too fast. So we may see some people slow down there, which will also be extra interesting because will we see someone overtake on the pipe today? I'm not sure. Like I said, these Cyclones have even less traction than they did when we did this one last time. And the pipe is not very thick. Not very wide, rather, I should say.
Okay.
So if we do see an overtake attempt, it is very likely that person is falling off the side to their death. So that's going to cost them, obviously, a ton of time as you've got to try to get back to the start of the pipe, right?
This is a singular race we have today, right, Croncy? How many laps are there?
Yes. We're doing 5 laps of this one today. So, yeah, should be an interesting one to see. Speaking of speed, just because you mentioned a little bit earlier, we do have a little vehicle speed chart as well. So you guys can just have a look at essentially all of the vehicles that we are going to be racing over the course of the System 7 with. There have been some changes, but the Cyclone RC is right there. 38 meters a second. 38 meters a second. Like I said, you're going to get punished a little bit by not having boost, but it's still fast. It's not slow by any standard, you know what I mean?
It is kind of interesting, right, that the Greycat STV, the Steve, is actually faster. I don't know its acceleration relative to the RC, but yeah, it's kind of interesting that. But yeah, all things considered, you mentioned before you don't think we're going to see anybody trying to overtake on the actual pipe. What does happen if you fall off the pipe, if that is a possibility?
You're going right the way back down to the to the start of the pipe. You're going all the way around, right? So you're going to lose a ton of time if you do that. So I just don't think any of our racers are going to take the risk of overtaking on the pipe. And instead, if you're going to go for the overtakes, do it once you're actually in the pit itself. Now, you will get a lot of very cool and hype points from both the chat and Maya and myself if you do attempt to overtake. So if that's an avenue that our racers want to go through, then I would highly recommend it because it would be cool. But yeah, it's just incredibly risky. I think what we're instead going to see is that the pipe is going to kind of work almost as a reset where if you are that little bit faster, you're going to, there's going to be no overtakes, but everyone's going to sort of get themselves into a state that they're ready to overtake once they get to those following turns. So we'll see what happens once we actually get into it, but it's going to be a great race nonetheless. It's going to be interesting to see this one in reverse because, like I said, we were in the other way around last time, and so it's very different. The jumps are very different. The angles that you're approaching are very different.
I do have one final question, there, Croncy.
Yep.
And it is of critical importance.
Okay.
Do you think we're going to see any explosions today?
I don't. Except for cameramen.
Oh, okay. Except for the cameramen,
see some cameras explode.
Yeah, we might have a counter for Papa Freedom, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see any explosions today. I think we are going to see,
Okay.
like I said, we'll see some people fall off the pipe. Whether
Right.
it's going to be at those like bumpy points that exist at the start of the pipe, or like I said, if someone does try to risk an overtake on the pipe, it's very likely that we'll see someone fall off there. But for the most part, yeah, I don't think we will. I don't believe we saw any racer explosions when we did this one last year as well. Obviously,
Okay.
things change in patches as they go by, but it's certainly one of our safer races, which is good because you get to see people do some, first off, riskier plays because there's less risk of explosion. But you also get to see people come a bit into their own, and we get a bit more of an understanding of where our teams may be sitting once we get into the later races. And speaking of those later races, let's have a quick look at the rest of the races that you guys will be able to see over the course of the System 7. This is race number 3, which means there's 4, 5, 6, and 7 left up. And race number 4, in 2 weeks' time, we're having another double race day, starting with Providence Platform. This one is going to be so damn sick, Maya. I am so excited for this one. I'm not even going to be here to commentate this
Oh
one.
man, I'm so
But
sad, dude.
I may wake up at 4 a.m. in Melbourne and like when I'm over at DreamHack and just I'm gonna have to watch this for sure because this looks like it's gonna be the most fun race of the entire season.
Yeah, so this is going to be taking over what we did have before. I don't know which track it was last year for the System 7, but back during the OG Stanton 7, we had a race over one of the platforms in on Horizon, but going away from the how would you say the local area, like the Habs and such, to Cargo Crisis in the shipping yard here. And
Yes.
yeah, it's going to be a good one because again, the STV is the fastest vehicle that we currently have, the fastest wheeled vehicle on our roster. And as it starts off on that slope, they're going to be crashing down through the starting point into that first bend at top speed. And I do hope somebody explodes.
So yeah, we used to do Cloud Chasers, which was the
Yes, that's the one.
One year we did it in the Mules, one year we did it in the PTVs,
Yes.
and was a very, very interesting race in its own right. It was a nice little short circuit sort of track where we did this style, but I think this one's going to be a little bit more fun. There's a lot more space here to sort of accommodate for the STV, obviously it being a much larger vehicle and a lot, you know, you're going to end up with a lot wider turns rather than you would with the PTV or the Mule. And yeah, it's just going to be an interesting one to check out because we haven't been here before. It's a brand new racetrack for us for the System 7, and I'm hoping that this is one of the ones that we bring forward with us as we go on, one of the ones that we return to a lot, just because it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. The question if it's going to be a lot of fun will be answered in 2 weeks' time when we bring all of our competitors here and see how it goes. I don't think we'll see many explosions, but if we do see an explosion, Maya, I hope we see it in that little crisscross that happens in that bottom left section there. That'll be very interesting.
That cross section is really creative. I do love these locations. The Montreal team did an amazing job just making Horizon feel like very much lived in, very much like an actual city, an actual world. Considering like there is no reason to go here yet, you know. Like so, I wonder how this entire stage will evolve over time as well. We're getting the new distribution centers very soon. Will these also step up to be part of that in the future? Who knows? But like yeah, these environments, these locations, these sets are so interesting and so different.
Yeah, agreed. All right, next up, race number 5. Now remember, this is going to be on another double race day as part of race number 4. We're back to the qualifiers.
That's right.
We're going in the PTV. We're back onto the Vision Center, and it's the BTR track. This was an absolutely fantastic track that CIG released almost 2 years ago now, I believe, or at least they like announced it roughly 2 years ago, and recently has been in a really, really good state. Has been really enjoyable to drive. Chance of explosions has been very low. I have not lost a wheel in recent patches, which could not have been said in previous patches, unfortunately. But that's great for our purposes. But because all of that danger has been removed, we are adding that danger back in by making it that there are 4 of them on the track at any one time, instead of just the one doing the qualifiers, which once again is going to be very interesting to see how this goes about. We were talking, Maya, in our previous race day. The racetrack itself can probably fit 3 Grey Cat PTVs side by side, almost the entire track, with maybe some issues. Maybe in some cases you'll be colliding, but that's not a lot of space, especially for four PTVs. So even like trying to overtake anyone on any turn is going to be incredibly dangerous. So Maya, how do you see this one going into restart?
Well, I mean, we saw in the qualifiers of this BTR track, we saw quite a few explosions, Croncy. You'd be very surprised. This golf cart is actually one of the most explosive vehicles in the entire game. So I am expecting with heats of four racers a whole bunch of explosions. You mentioned a second ago that these tracks are like 3 cars wide. That's not really enough for, I suppose, well, overtaking, because when it comes down to it, when it comes to our racers, the fastest racers in the verse who have trained on this track because it was the qualifier, they have a very specific line in mind. And I feel like there's a very big difference between like racing a time trial and knowing your line, and racing and having to be cognizant of all the other races around you. And it's been very interesting to see how many racers are not necessarily able to adjust, really, from time trials to racing amongst others, because in one you're going by yourself and you have the freedom to go as by the line, by the wire as you want, and then with the other, well, you got to make sure you don't touch somebody else, because then you're both losing wheels. So it's going to be very interesting, because like one false move and you're out, right? And I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, I don't think we'll see many explosions from just like regular collisions with walls and stuff as we have, but certainly PTVs against each other. I think that's where we're going to see some explosions.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on to race number 6, another new racetrack for the System 7. We're heading over to Lyria with a whiteout, and we're going to be using the RSI links, the fancier of the RSI twins, which means, like I said, if you spill any champagne, you are eliminated. So we have 10 laps here around this brand new racetrack, one that I'm very excited to see, because this is one of our only endurance races, or more endurance type races that we're actually going to have of this entire series. So yeah, it's a bit, we've gone a bit more of the route of the faster short circuits, whereas we previously had a lot of endurance. This one's definitely that way still, though. So lots of opportunities for people to pass each other. Lots of opportunities for your lines to be incredibly different. Because just because you've got those lines there, just as long as you're making sure you're getting through the checkpoints at the correct times, you're going to be fine. And there's going to be certain ridges and certain divots that are going to probably punish you in this instance. Maya, race number 6. What do you think?
Yes, I mean, endurance in more ways than one, because again, this is a 10-lap race around this circuit. And, like, looks can be deceiving, especially from an aerial map like this. But when it comes down to it, this is going to be as Daymar Rally adjacent as you can get within the System 7. I'm looking forward to it, man, because, again, like, consistency is key within this competition. Everything from the racetracks themselves down to our scoring system as well. The more times you can get up there, like first, second, third, fourth, fifth, the more points you'll accrue. And this is kind of like the epitome of all those things put together in a very like a stylish, sleek RSI links package.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite vehicles that we got to experience recently in the Daymar Rally. It was just so much cooler watching the Lynxes versus the regular Rovers. I don't know. It just has a better look. The wheels look cooler. It has nothing to do with its performance. It's just a much cooler
You
vessel.
take that back. You take that back.
Moving on to our final race of Moving on to our final race of the series, which once again, you know it, you love it. We're back at the Lawville Loop over on Hurston with all of that brand new Lawville looking shenanigans, all of those updates that we got last year. This is one of the best races of the entire season. Essentially what we do here is this is a bit more of a relay style race where we have to swap vehicles in between each of these gates. So we're going to be going through the I believe we're doing the STV, the Cyclone, the Dragonfly, the Cyclone, and the Lynx.
Ursa Rover.
So not in that particular order, but I had to try to remember that just then. My brain didn't want to work. But yeah, this is an absolutely fantastic race. It's really, really cool. The big part of the essence of it, Maya, and you would have experienced this the first year that we had this, and we certainly got to experience this last year, especially when we got to open up that back end there with the Dragonfly, is because the vehicles change at every point, you get to see sort of the specialties of every team, and you get to see where everyone excels at, and you get to see how they are able to, bring some leads back, bring some of that distance back. You may see someone who, for example, Herbie 53, an absolutely fantastic Cyclone pilot, maybe not the best Dragonfly pilot, and you get to see that sort of that fight there. So it's great. I absolutely love it. Super, super keen for race number 7. How are you feeling about that one, Maya?
So race number 7 is one of the tracks that keep coming back from System to Stanton, and I do have to say that this might be a very different Lorville Loop Croncy, simply because that by the time we get to the Lorville Loop, 323 might have reared its ugly head, and with that, well, we might have a few more ugly heads to contend with. So, we might have to, we're going from perimeter gate to perimeter gate. These gates are massive, they're huge, and they're tall. And in lore, there's a reason for it. In 323, we're finally getting 2 different kinds of fauna. We're getting ourselves the Copion Hounds, and we're getting ourselves the Turbo Pelicans as well. And
the Marocs, I wonder, is what they're called?
That's Turbo Pelicans. Did I stutter? But I wonder if we're going to be getting those dogs anywhere nearby the Lorville Loop, and if so, will they impede or change how the racers have to respond to I guess obstacles? Because I have no idea if these critters will attack a bike, for instance. But it might make for very interesting viewing on the day, Croncy.
I wonder if we're going to have a dedicated staff member trying to corral all of the Copions away, kind of like cattle. Get them away from our side.
Copion Dundee, just sniping off the back of a Nomad.
Copion Dundee might be my favorite thing now. So yeah, that's how we're going to finish off the System 7. And remember, guys, we're going to be back here in 2 weeks' time, and then 3 weeks' time, and then I think it's 1 week time. So all these races are coming up pretty soon. Don't worry too much, though. It's going to be a great time. And yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. If you've never watched the System 7 before, at least make sure you're here for race number 7. Now, what are these players actually competing for? Because we like to chuck some prizes in, because this isn't just an event just for fun. We've got to put some stakes on the line so that everyone goes as fast as they possibly can. I've never had fun in my life.
What
so
even
here
is
we
fun?
go. Maya, what's everyone competing for over the course of the System 7?
All right, so our fastest racing team, the fastest racers in the verse for the year 2954, will be taking home not only the first place trophy created by JRDF, every single team member of the first place winning team will be getting themselves a jacket, as you can see here, the Champions jacket. Every single year, every single season of the System 7, we have a different style. This is the one, I believe, for last year's. We will be showing you exactly what our contestants will be up for winning towards the latter stages of the competition. However, you can see here, generally speaking, the bragging rights they're going to be wearing in the next competitions. I'm looking forward to seeing somebody wearing this at CitizenCon for sure. They will also be winning a Crusader Hercules C2 and Rover Lynx to move around in. Second place winners will be taking home their second place trophies, a bit smaller than the first place one, obviously. And they'll be taking home their own personalized, stylized jerseys as well for the System 7, as well as an Origin JumpWorks 400i and X1 Velocity to put inside its cargo hold as well. And as you can see, their third place gets a Nomad and a hover quad to live out their Copion Dundee lives.
I need someone to make a Copion Dundee artwork, please. Please do that. So yeah, that's the prizes that our players are going to be competing for. Now, I believe we have some views so we can see our races setting up. They're going to be getting ready to go pretty soon, guys. We're not too far away. I believe sunset's about to hit, which is fantastic. And there we go. I love seeing... Thank you so much, racers, for having different skins. I do think we're at an advantage now. The Cyclone RC actually does have quite a few skins. It used to have literally none. Like, in fact, in the first System 7, when it was still the Stanton 7, there was none, I'm fairly sure. And then we got like an Invictus one, and then that was it for a very long time. So it's nice to see a bunch of these different variations and you know, a little bit fancier. Maybe one day we'll be able to put like, you know, here's Punch Nomi's logo, here's Blackhawk's logo. That'd be really
Wouldn't that be cool? But for now, we are unintentionally representing France with the blue, white, and red.
Now, let me tell you a little bit, at least from the sheet that I have, Maya, who we're going to be seeing racing for each team today. Because if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, almost every one of our teams is a team of 4. I think there's only 2 exceptions where we don't have teams of 4 participating in our System 7. So 4 Team Punch Novies, you know him, you love him, the king of the Cyclone RC. Herbie is going to be racing for Team Punch Novies today, and I am not even remotely surprised.
Looking forward to seeing Herbie on the track there. Herbie making their debut 3 years ago with the Stanton 7 during the final Stanton 7 there. I believe in their first ever tournament there, Croncy, Herbie was a racer not many people knew about, hailing from the UK, their first ever race, and they made a name for themselves then. And it's really cool to see 2 years down the line, you know, like them being such a well-known name within the racing community now in StarCitizen.
Yeah, it's great to see them evolve. Next up, another racer, like you said, a racer that is well-known within the community. For Team Blackhawks, you know him, you love him. I'm just going to say that for every racer. We have Ludox. Ludox is going to be racing for Team Blackhawks. And once again, not super surprising, an absolutely fantastic racer that has proven their worth for sure over the course of a couple of race series.
Next is Amarok's Fang, and it looks like we're going to be getting to see Gravity Cat for the first time racing on this Cyclone, giving Big Flex a rest there, Croncy.
Yeah, which is always nice to do. We talked, like, this is one of our first examples of, like, we want to see, you know, get people to prioritize the Cyclones or get people to prioritize Dragonflies so they have that best advantage. And it seems like that's probably what's happened here, seeing Gravity Cat.
That's right.
Next up, for Team Elise Motorsport, we're going to see Mark X. We're used to seeing Captain Chaos here out on the field, but we're going to see Mark X this time. How do you feel about that, Maya?
Well, I do not know personally Mark X or Mark 10, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with the Cyclone. Maybe perhaps they can bring it to Mark 10. We'll have to wait and see. But with a name like that from Elise Motorsports, you know, like they have... I'm curious. I've got my eyes on them, especially after the sick qualifier that they gave us the other week as well, Croncy.
Yes. Yes, very much so. Next up, clearly a Cloud favorite, Premier Core Colonial. Your racer today is going to be Sir Octopus. We're going to get to see how they perform. Now, Premier Core Colonial is a team that, at least for me, this System 7 has been my first time exposed to them, and I've gotten to see just how crazy good these guys are, how well put together this team is. And I don't think, as far as I'm aware, I don't think we've seen Sir Octopus race even in the qualifiers yet. I think it's just been mostly Chubi and Luce. So Sir Octopus is going to be someone that I'm looking out for. You know, Cyclone RC, like I said, even though it doesn't have boost, it still has a lot of skill elements to it. And this track in particular, especially with the pipes, can be very skill intensive. So let's see if you can, you know, prove to your team that you are deserving of that spot in that 4. And we'll see how you go today.
That's right. 1cc Premier Core Colonia, one of the more boisterous communities here within the chat for ATMO Esports today. They're fielding their 3rd racer. We've almost seen every single one of them now. We'll see. Maybe perhaps in 2 weeks' time, we'll see Ongurev on the field. I do believe Ongurev was in qualifiers. But yes,
yes.
I think this is the only team that's kind of fielded their entire roster so far, Croncy.
Is indeed. Next up, moving to Star Prime Racing, Renlos Malik is taking his seat this week. And instead, we're going to be seeing Semper Prime, who I've been seeing a lot in the Twitch chat. So Semper Prime, I'm hoping that you can also prove to your team what you can do. This is a name that you're going to need to ingrain into my head. If I remember your name, the chances are you're really, really good, because I don't remember a lot of names. So We'll see what you can do, Semper. Moving on to Catcom Alpha, a team that we've gotten to see a lot over the course of the last few years. We won't be seeing Circo Worm today. We won't even be seeing Blaucat. We see Blaucat quite often for them. We're going to be seeing Endermaster.
That's right. Endermaster. We'll see if Endermaster can lead the race here and get to the end fast. I mean, like, live up to your name, Endermaster. We'll have to see. Otherwise, maybe we'll have to have some words about changing that name of yours. But yes, we haven't seen Endermaster yet. I'm very curious to see how they race their Cyclone today here, Croncy.
Yep, same. Next up, we move on to Garden Racing. A great team that we've been seeing do some fantastic work ever since the Daymar Rally. They've been popping into a ton of events and been crushing it. Azon Keel is coming back. Had a break from last week, and they're going to be racing the Cyclone RC today. So maybe they... I was going to say they're a wheeled specialist, and then I remembered that we were using the Gravlevs for race number 1. So who knows?
That's right.
Maybe a multi-vehicle specialist.
Yeah, maybe a multi-vehicle specialist indeed here, Croncy, coming back after a week's break there, giving Tyrus Rex some well-needed rest after last week's race. I'm very curious. I mean, these Garden Racing, they're representing, of course, Space Tomatoes, the Garden, or the Space Garden. Help me out here, Croncy. I think I just butchered his name. And I can't butcher it because it's all vegetables.
Interstellar.
There we go. Garden Interstellar. There we go.
Actually, a tomato is a fruit. Thank you very much, Maya.
I stand corrected. Moving swiftly on, we have Wildcards Racing for the second race in a row is going to be Gilly 22 here for this team here, Croncy.
Yeah, Gilly is running this one back to back. Should be great to see Wildcards Racing rock up for this one as well. And another team that I was very impressed by during qualifiers. Next up, we have Novak Racing, previously Alterra, if you do remember that name. We have Comwharf 4 is back at it again, hoping for a solid performance. Didn't do, unfortunately, too well during last week's heat-based run, but it's okay. I think the team's going to bring it back for this one. Try to get those points back. Like once we said, it doesn't really matter until you get to race number 4, race number 5, of where we're actually going to be sitting in terms of a top 8. So they've still got plenty of time to prove their worth. We'll go through these ones a little bit quicker as well, Maya, just because it sounds like we're getting pretty close to race time. So I'm just going to quickly say Delta Dietis Racing. Today, racing for them is going to be Space Tech. Great to see them today. Venture Origins number 2, our solar racer Isotope, is going to be here. You're going to see them all 7 weeks. Argo Nut. What?
Oh. What just happened? The wheels everywhere, Croncy. What just happened?
I see lots of wheels.
It looks like a false start there with a light chassis, Croncy.
So today we're going to be doing a running race. You can see all of our racers who are still alive seem to be leaving their Cyclones. That's okay. Cool. I think
maybe perhaps there might have been a bit of a. Go on, Croncy.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be starting just soon. We might have to maybe we won't go through these too fast. Argo Navis, Devian is going to be racing for them today.
Argo Navis, Devian. That's going to be the first time Devian's showing up here in the first 3 races for Team Argo Navis here, Croncy. And looking at the points here, Argo Navis actually have 6 points. So if they show up on the podium, they're going to be well on their way into the top 3 here for this race, Croncy, or for this competition even.
Yeah, they got themselves a solid 6th place position in the runners-up essentially last week. So, that's kind of where you want to be sitting. You want to be making sure you're at least getting the top 8 every race. You're going to get some consistent points. And then if you can get a few first places, that's sort of how you get there, right? You just need those.
That's right.
Those 6th through 4th places just to keep you in there. Next up, we have AAWA Drunken Turtle Racing. And once again, another back-to-back, we have Karatagos Racing this week.
That's right. Kratagos coming through and looking at their points here. AWA have 2 points on the board. So again, however, this is only race 3. So without hitting that podium in the last couple races there, Croncy, they still have more than enough opportunities to make their way back, to the front of the leaderboard. All it's going to take is a good race. And with Kratagos here coming in warm from the last System 7 race, we'll see. I mean, again, we're moving from Gravlev racing now to wheeled racing. So we're bound to see some differences here in terms of who is going to be up there on the podium. Of course, we do have our favorites, or at the very least, we do have our high PTV qualifiers who we have to keep our eyes out on. But we'll have to wait and see, Croncy.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, we have Eva Ria. We have Sit. We saw Jinra during race number 1, Hugh Crop during race number 2, and now we're back to race number 3. So another team that I'm hoping can show themselves this week, give them a little bit of a better start off. As like we said, we had 2 races complete race number 1, and so race number 2 was the only one where we got to see almost everyone do their thing. So today is another opportunity for them to do that. So Eva Ria, we're hoping that you guys can pop off today, and yeah, good luck.
That's right. Site 0 or Sit 0 or Saito is debuting here for Eva Ria today. And again, this is another. I think the only other team today that's fielding every single race is a different racer, with only Arcaner from Eva Ria still waiting to show us what they got. Maybe perhaps even next week.
Yeah, I hope we get to see those. I really like it when we get to see everyone in the team. Sometimes we get instances where you have your four-person team just in case someone can't make it. As sort of a backup racer and whatnot. But I do hope we get to see them and perform well. And finally, for SPG Racing, our last team, we have Kebu Kaides. Did I get it right this time, Maya?
Yes.
Lovely. We have Kebu Kaides bringing it in for SPG Racing, a fantastic team that we got to see do a lot of work during the qualifiers, and a team that I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do today as well.
That's right. We're going back to wheeled vehicles now. They did some amazing work during the qualifiers, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of that today, Croncy.
Yeah, should be good fun. So that's everyone you guys are going to be seeing today. Once we get some fresh, undamaged cyclones, it sounds like we had a little bit of an issue with someone and the self-destruct button. I haven't been told who, so we can't shame anyone, which is good. But sometimes things happen during races. Sometimes things happen during StarCitizen. Have you ever accidentally changed your key binding for explosions? Because I have for self-destruct. I've done that accidentally.
There's this one time my ship just started self-destructing for no reason, and I heard the klaxon and the countdown for no reason, and I panicked for all of 9 seconds before I managed to find the button. And I'll level with you, I never actually found the button I pressed. I just kind of face rolled on the keyboard, hoping for the best, so I didn't lose 10 million UEC worth of cargo. But yes, it does happen even to the best of us, and I am by no means the best of us, but it happens to be quite often too.
Yeah, it's especially with 323.
That's right.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of new keybinds, partially in relation to master modes. So you don't want to end up in a situation like one of our cyclones possibly just did there. But it is looking like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic race day. I'm really keen. Hopefully we can get everyone set up really quickly again. Luckily, a lot of these teams have a ton of experience setting up for events like this, and it doesn't take too long. And then, as long as we don't have any more issues, it's going to be a good day. We're in the sun right now. I'm not exactly sure how long. Oh, sorry, we're in the Stanton right now. I'm not exactly sure how long daylight lasts here. I'm used to pretty much only running this track on Arena Commander, where it's always daylight, which is nice. Though I will say, if we do manage to get into some nighttime racing, it does have some pretty cool lights around the track. It does light up very nicely. Some great jobs from CIG. And in fact, when we did our race last year, at this location, it was during the night. So we did get to see that.
Well, the merit of a race like this is that, again, you mentioned this is CIG's firstborn son when it comes down to racetracks within the verse. And it's not just a track that we've picked out. It was originally a Star Citizen community track. CIG saw what we were doing with it, and they adopted it for their own as well. They decked it out with a whole bunch of lights with this, that, the other to make it an actual racetrack. So morning, day, night, I do expect to see nothing but just great cinematic shots here, Croncy.
Yeah, for sure. I will also say I do love the little podiums. The podiums are super, super cool. I do wish they had seating. Like actual seating. I think that would be really, really fun to sit down there. Maybe you get one of the noodle sellers from Pyro in the corner. Sell some noodles. Well, ladies and gentlemen, because we did have that issue with those cyclones, we are going to go on a quick break while everyone gets together. I do wish we had like a technical difficulties screen that just had a cyclone exploding over and over again on the screen. Instead, we're going to show you guys a couple of sponsors and ads and stuff from all of our partners. So make sure you guys watch those, and then we'll be back very, very soon with race number 3, System 7, presented by EQNX, presented by myself and Maya, and ATMO Esports. See you guys soon.
wanted to. I just wanted to connect.
Esper here, bringing you the race 1 and 2 highlights. We start off with River Canyon Chaos on Microtech, as racers get ready to brave the river walls in a negative 64 degrees Celsius Microtech in the black of night. As the racers begin, we were looking good into the first River Canyon pass, and then the course started claiming some dragonflies. The first 2 laps proved to be a challenge for a lot of our competitors, as we lost 10 of the fastest racers in the verse, proving that steady racing may get you more points than all-out speed. Going into lap 3, we had 4 competitors left: Star Prime Racing, Delta Dietis, Catcom Alpha, and Blackhawks leading the pack. After 5 laps, Ludox from Blackhawks took first place with a time of 37 minutes and 45 seconds and a best lap of 6:46. Czech Leak from Delta Dietis secured second place finish, as Circa Worm from Catcom Alpha caught a tree 200 meters out from the finish line, dropping them back to third. Here are your leaders that managed to pick up some points going into race 2. Competition was heating up in Cold Snap, where racers ran 6 heats to determine our winners. In heat number 1, it was secured by Lease Motorsports with a 735. They were neck and neck with Venture Origins going into lap 4, but Venture Origins went out with a bang coming down Prime Drift. More exploding Noxes in heat number 2, where Catcom Alpha took the victory with an 835, and Argo Navis took that runner-up slot. The sun finally came out for our racers on Heat 3, and this course still plagues Ludox again this year as he blows up with a collision with Star Prime Racing in the first lap, allowing Amarok's Fang to take the heat with a 713. Heat 4 was some tight competition, but Punch Nomis pulls ahead victorious with a 635 to fill out the finals heat, and Novak Racing taking second place for our runner-up heat. In the runner-up finals, Tyrus Rex from Garden Racing shows that having a paint job just might bring you some extra luck, as he finishes first, getting 6 points for his team in race number 2. The finals heat was a tight one all the way through, but not without its explosions, as half the racers didn't make it to that final lap, trying to keep up with the amazing sub-120 laps from Gerbo the Gnome, as Punch Nomis takes first place in race number 2 with a finish time of 6 minutes and 41 seconds, giving themselves 25 points. Amarok's Fang picked up that second place finish. And after 2 races, we have no clear leader, meaning that the next 4 races going into the finals mean even more. It's still tight between the 1 through 6 slots, and the first or second place finish could put any of our racers right back in the mix. So I expect to see some fierce competition out on the track in today's events.
And we are back with some fantastic views of the snake pit, and hopefully not as much debris as we left it with. How you doing, Maya?
I'm doing good, and yeah, I mean, I'm so thankful right now that we have tractor beams of different shapes and sizes so that we can clear out the track whenever things like this happen, because, mishaps do happen, and it
Mhm.
just kind of adds to the whole ambience and aesthetic of the game, this living, breathing universe where, like, even wreckages can be moved about and salvaged and stuff. I think we talked about this, like, last year or the year before about the future of it and engineering and stuff, and what we could see in the future. I don't know. Like, it was a technical mishap, but it made me stoked about the game even more.
I mean, that's all. That's all we really strive for, right? Yeah.
Mm.
So it's taken a little bit of time. Obviously, we have, because of that explosion that we had. We also had, some damaged cyclones. We don't want people to start with some damaged cyclones as well. So it's just replacements, getting onto the board as quickly as possible. And I do want to say we have an absolutely fantastic team behind the scenes, getting all that sort of stuff ready. We have people piloting these Hercules to move a bunch of these ships along. We have a bunch of teams coordinating players. It's a fantastic job to see. So I know it's early in the day. I know we normally do this at the end of the stream, but I'd like to thank all of the people that work with ATMO and all of our volunteers that get this together. It makes for a well-oiled machine in an otherwise less oiled machine. Does that make sense? I'm just saying words.
That's right. Here's a rare sight of one of our staging ships here delivering the cyclones to the field here. But yeah, it's beautiful. The entire thing just makes me think about like like the future of the game. Because right now, these teams for the System 7, we have 4 racers, but vehicles like the Cyclone and even the PTV, they have 2 seats, and on those seats you have consoles on the second on the quote unquote co-pilot seat. So
Yeah.
will engineering like come into play at that point? Will you be able to have like your co-pilot help you eke out even more like meters per second or like more performance from your vehicle? I hope so.
Yeah, me too. I think there's a lot of things to explore there, especially with you mentioned we've now finally gotten to experience a little bit of engineering in the 323 wave in Arena Commander, and it's been interesting to see what the possibilities are of that gameplay and if they can extend towards racing, because I would love them to extend towards racing one way or the other. I would love to see something like a mid-race battery change or something akin to that, would be
or going to
would be
the
super
pit stop
cool.
and
Here we
getting your
go.
wheels swapped out and that kind of thing too.
Exactly. Also, yeah, here we go. Some beautiful shots of these fresh, brand new, right off the factory cyclones that hopefully don't have that weird explosion defect that last one came with.
That's right. I mean, imagine that, just like making a vehicle with a explosion defect. Who does that?
Only Tumbril.
Only Tumbril.
So, should only be a couple more minutes, guys, while we get these everyone ready. It does not take long. One of the beauties of Snake Pit is that it's only, I think it's like 3 kilometers. It's made 3 or 4 kilometers away from the closest station, the Ray McGrath. So you can just spawn some cyclones there very, very quickly, which is extremely helpful for us in situations like this, and in situations where we're at this racetrack for other reasons too. So it's one of their only racetracks as well. Like when we first got Snake Pit as a official, in-game racetrack, one of the reasons I think it was so successful is because you could respawn your ships, you could respawn your vehicles really, really quickly, and so you weren't as punished for doing racing in the PU as you would be in other locations.
Right. My only wish for a racetrack like this, and in fact, all the racetracks we have in Stanton, is perhaps maybe to give us some better stands, so we can sit down on chairs, or even have one of these new screens using their new billboard tech, so that we can see what's going on, see who's in the lead and that kind of thing, using the mission system. Maybe it's asking a bit too much for a game that's supposed to be about space travel, but hey, I mean, that's my dream.
Yeah. I think it's a reasonable dream. I think it'd be a fun dream. So, Maya, we were talking a little bit about the teams before, and we've gone through them a little bit. One thing we didn't do that I have to do every single race. Where are your predictions? I want you to give me not just a first, I want you to give me a top 3. Give me a predicted podium for today's race.
a predicted podium, a top 3 for our racers today. Well, how about this? Chat right now. Who is your favorite racer? Who is your favorite team? Who are you voting for? Because I think I'm going to be going with chat energy on this one, Croncy. Because, like, if anything has... if I've seen anything so far, it's been that, like, chat and chat energy and all that stuff, like, definitely does kind of, like, lead towards, like, the drivers and stuff taking up on that energy and, like, you know, and going for it. I see Herbie in chat, so Herbie is definitely one of those. I believe I saw Gerber the Gnome saying that Herbie was due to get, like, a pretty high score there. I see Lease Motorsports is there as well. All right. And I see 1cc as well. That's a Premier Corps Colonial. Yeah, look at all these beautiful names in chat. We got Mark 10 as well. Mark 10 being a racer there for... what team was Mark 10 in again? Come on, brain, help me out here.
Mark X or Mark 10, depending on how it is from Lease Motorsports.
Lease Motorsport, that's the one. Yes. It's a tough one, man. It is a very tough one. But honestly, I think I'm going to be going with, let's see. I'm going to pick a random team out of my hat. It's going to be, no, Cronzy, if I do this, I'm going to make 15 enemies.
Maya, we're commentators. If we're not opinionated, what are we doing here?
Lease Motorsport it is then. Let's go. I rolled the dice.
Look, I think it'd be crazy if we don't see Pianchinomis on the podium.
100%.
Not just because they're a fantastic team, but because, as I've said, Herbie is one of the best cycling RC pilots in Star Citizen, straight up. An insane person, just in general, honestly. Has so much experience with that vehicle, especially over the course of the last couple of years and in the System 7. So I'm going to put Punch Nomis in the top 3.
All right.
Then I'm going to move over to Star Prime Racing in the top 3 as well with Semper Prime. I think everything I've seen Renlos Malik do over the course of the last few years has been so impressive, and I imagine that the rest of the team has that sort of quality to them. So I think we're going to see Semper Prime also in the top 3. Also, lovely little graphic we had there of Herbie just a little bit.
Yeah,
earlier.
Was that the new character creator there? Like, the fidelity is just off the charts now.
It's so accurate. So that's 2 of my 3. Is Punch Novis and Star Prime Racing. And then to finish my top 3 up, I think Garden Racing. I'm going to grab this one
All
as
right.
well. They're a team that I haven't seen them perform in a Cyclone RC yet. But if they can do what they did in race number 1 and 2 and the qualifiers and the DMR rally in a Cyclone, awesome. Absolutely fantastic. And I think they have the ability to put that there. So that's my top 3. No particular order of where they are in the top 3. But I think those are my 3 teams that I think are going to podium at the end of the day.
You know, I don't necessarily want to discredit Blackhawks either, because even though, you know, they came first in race number 1, the bloodiest race we've ever seen in the System 7, with only 2 surviving races at the end of it. In the qualifiers, you know, like they kind of, like, for me at the very least, you know, Ludox, etc., they came out of nowhere, you know, and just like seized a whole bunch of high times. I'm looking forward to seeing them in a wheeled vehicle again. I want to see what they do here. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on them too.
I do wonder with Team Blackhawks, I do wonder if we're going to see Ludox. Ludox is an absolutely fantastic racer. I do wonder if Ludox is going to be our racer for the full system. It would be interesting to see a team of 4 have just one primary racer, and what that may mean over the course of the series, because I don't think we've had that before. Last year we had a couple of teams that were full teams of 4, but we had like maybe 2 people racing, and we had the other races as a bit more of a sort of a stopgap in case someone couldn't tank.
Right. Or anime aficionados, we've got a solo leveling situation going on here, where Ludox just has Paganini, Spartano, and Falcon there to fill out the how would you say, the recommendations. But like you know, it's just Ludox. It is Team Ludox. We'll see. But that's a funny one. It's
just to make sure those other races can get those prizes. You know, those additional prizes.
Right. You know, like get your friends a shirt. You know, Ludox. What a good friend.
Exactly. Yeah. Shouldn't be much too long now. Once again, guys, we did have that issue a little bit earlier where we had a Cyclone chuck that cheeky old backspace button with some technical difficulties. So we've had to do a reset. So a bit of a delay here, unfortunately. But I must say, for the most part, System 7 has been very, very smooth this year. Kind of testament to just how far the game has come over the last couple of years. I'm sure you remember, Maya, the first Stanton 7, the 7-hour-long races for what was actually like a 40-minute race. That was a
Yeah, I mean, it's called the Stanton
some
7 for more
experiences,
reasons
for
than
sure.
one, Croncy. 7 whole hours, man. Yeah, definitely, man. The game has come a long way. I think that our team has come a long way as well, because every single event you learn from. And, unlike the Daymar Rally, that's one day, the System 7, previously the Stanton 7, we have so many different races, 7 in total plus qualifiers and also practice races. So we have a lot more opportunities to get better.
Yeah, exactly. And it's certainly proven itself. I do wonder, with the advent of 323, let's talk about it a little bit more. It's the thing that's on everyone's mind, obviously.
It's all I want to talk about, Croncy.
It's in Wave 1 PTU. It's got all these cool things. I do wonder what it may do to potential System 7 as we go forward. We're actually talking before the stream, now that we're going to see master modes in the game, that may mean we see some more changes to ground vehicles again soon as they start to reprioritize things. I imagine, with the advent of the Gravlev vehicles in Arena Commander that we got recently, and the fact that we're in 323 getting private lobbies, I imagine that we will see more of that with maybe some more ground vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Well,
who knows?
The private lobbies definitely will add an added layer of how would you say, competitive integrity to StarCitizen's competitions and such. I do feel as if, personally, as somebody who watches these events and follows them, leaving the PU, leaving the living universe to do it inside, it's something a little bit more clinical, for things like these races, will be a little sad. But I understand it as well. I hope Daymar Rally stays being, out there in the live event, the live universe. Things like the System 7, I feel definitely it could work in a, how would you say, a private lobby. But I'm just so stoked to see private lobbies come back in general, Croncy.
Yeah, I think they left before I even started playing. I think it was a while ago. You know what I mean? Yeah. I started in late 2019, and as far as I'm aware, there was no private lobbies at that time. But maybe I just wasn't playing around the right people at the time. So this is kind of a whole new thing for me. Oh yeah, wow, that is a while ago. Yeah. I think when I started, it was 3.7 had just come out, and we're still on 3.3. We'll be in 4.0 one day. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens with these private lobbies, especially in regards to, we were talking earlier as well about Fight or Flight. Being able to do that in a private lobby is awesome. It's fantastic.
Yes.
It means we get better views, we get better performance than we would necessarily get in the PU. We get to make our own rule sets, which is fantastic as well. And so getting to see that come to the game is great for StarCitizen and Esports. It's a new dawn in the next couple of months. Hopefully we get to see it happen really soon. I imagine, do you think we're going to get it before Invictus? I imagine we would.
I would be surprised if all of that didn't drop at the exact same time. Invictus, over Xenothreat, and 263. I'm sorry, I've got 263 on the mind now. 323, all coming out at the same time.
Yep. Yeah. Also, we were talking too much, chat, but we did get told that it was a 5-minute counter about 3 minutes ago. So we're actually really, really close to starting System 7, race number 3, Reverse Snake Pit, presented by EQNX. Absolutely fantastic group. I'm excited for this one. This is, remember, a lot slower than when we were here last year. When we were here with the boosts, when we were here where the Cyclones had a lot more traction. It was a lot more interesting. It sounds like the races are trying to organize themselves into a staggered grid, which will be a very interesting start. Normally, when we do these races, we kind of just do side by side. You can get a lot of issues with whether it be desync or ping right off the bat when we do have that instance. So, that's what they're doing right now, and you can see that on the screen. Yeah,
I was gonna ask a second ago with the other race camera there with Vendin, I've heard of a Dutch angle before, but what they had before was something quite spectacular. But yeah, look at that. We have all our races here. I believe that's all 16 cars is all lined up, ready to go. They got somebody on the far right side over there, kind of facing like a bunch of boulders. I do wonder how that's going to affect them here. But yeah, they're currently staging up for a staggered start, I believe. Or
Well, I will
staggered
tell
grid.
you, pretty much every time that I have participated in one of these events, there is always an advantage to staying as far away from everyone as you can. Because, like I said, you will very likely, whether it's desync, whether it's ping, especially if you're on Australian ping, there is a high likelihood that you may end up colliding with someone off the get-go. So even here, we're probably going to see people wait a couple of seconds before they actually start, once start is called. Or, like in that instance that you were talking about, yeah, we're going to see someone right off to the right side there, just trying to avoid races, and then, changing their lines to compensate.
Definitely. Seen it, done it as well. Like it's the safe thing to do, Plus, if people do explode, like you get to see some fireworks for free. Like, best seats in the house.
Once again, great to see everyone, or mostly everyone, using some different skins today. What is that, like, the teal looking one? Do you know
I've
what
been
skin
looking
that
at
is?
that one. I'm not too sure, but
That's
I must
nice.
hazard a guess. It's probably an Invictus skin, yeah.
Well, so there's the Invictus skin that's like, or the whatever the deep blue skin is. I think it's an Invictus skin. That one exists.
Right.
I don't think anyone has that one. We've got some the blue and white and the yellow and white. I believe were part of the same like subscriber bonus, like a year or two ago.
Subflare stuff. Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
not familiar with the teal one. That one looks absolutely fantastic. Someone is saying it is subflare. That looks so good.
Not entirely sure if that one in particular is the subflare, but yeah. I mean, what was... I don't know if you recall, because it's before your time, my 2019 child. But I wonder, I cannot remember what the pre-sale color was for the Cyclone. I believe it was like desert camo or something.
Oh yeah, I have no clue. I've definitely seen some images of like some very, very old pre-rendered images of Cyclones with like desert camo. It would definitely make sense for that. It looks like, sorry, I just got a little bit of information.
Excitement.
It looks like we're almost ready for our 1 minute countdown. So we'll tell them to go ahead with that. And Maya, would you like to do the honors today?
Would I like to do the honors? I would be honored.
Wow.
What? What?
He just couldn't help himself, everyone.
Story
so yeah,
of
they're
my
going to get their
life.
1 minute counter. There we go. 1 minute counter has just started. 1 minute time. We are getting started. Remember, we're doing 5 laps of Snake Pit in reverse and over some pipes, which is going to be where the real fun is. With no boost. It's such a weird race. It's such an interesting race. It's very much kind of like, yeah, it's like running an STV with some with a little bit slower and a little bit of different traction.
Yeah. Again, the reverse Snake Pit for the first time this year. Because I can't remember if it was last year or not. But at least, my first time here with reverse Snake Pit. Obviously, you can also do this for the Gravlev races as well. Yep. Bringing it back, the first ever racetrack. 15 seconds to go. Racers for race number 3 of the System 7. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
A little bit of hesitancy there on the go ahead, I noticed, from a couple of our races. And we have collisions aplenty right off the bat.
Oh.
Not surprised by that at all. Like I said, we were still a little bit close in together at the very beginning of the race. But, everyone's well and truly sorted now. Now, if you are not familiar with this track, you're going to see this little bit of debris here. They're going to go left through the debris. They're going to go up a little hill and then over onto the pipe. This is going to be their first interaction throughout all of this. And there is a lot of little jagged edges of that bit of debris that can catch you off guard. So our racers really need to be careful not to slam into any of those. For the most part, I've seen people recover from them, but obviously you're going to lose a ton of time if you have that happen.
Right, up and around that first turn there, Croncy, and yeah, we saw a couple vehicles get spun around, and yeah, all the more making a good, showcase, a good candidate for staying behind, waiting, watching. You know, we have 5 laps, so there's plenty of opportunity to catch up, especially if you know your routes here. Look at this convoy, man. What's going on?
Yeah. Not only that, so there's that little bump, that first little bump that we were talking about a little bit that can
Yes.
cause you to fall off the edge. Now, if you fall off here, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to take too long for you to get back around. But you could see there was a little bit of a traffic jam as our racers try to go over it as carefully as possible as to not fly off the side. That Fury getting some great camera work in there. They're getting awfully close to that cyclone. That is incredibly dangerous there. But yeah, whoever this is first is has a fairly solid lead and tons of people behind him. This is a nice little convoy. This is great to see. I like this.
That's right. That's our death-defying Pop of Freedom camera there in that Mirai Fury doing some awesome work, as you mentioned there, Croncy. We have that iceberg cyclone in the lead there. We'll be able to tell you in a second who exactly that is as they make their way through the spine of the snake pit into that third turn, Croncy.
Yes, exactly. So once we do get off the pipe, it's going to be all wheels
All
on the
wheels?
ground.
All wheels.
All wheels on
There
the
we go.
ground.
Speaking of wheels on the
all wheels on
ground,
the
we can
ground
see a
first.
few
Oh, yes,
races
yeah, people
falling off
falling
the
off.
pipe.
Oh,
That's
no.
right. Yeah, we've seen about 2
I
or
did
3
say it was gonna
races
happen.
fall off the pipe there. Yes, you did indeed. And interestingly enough, that was those are the racers who are towards the rear of the pack without too much competition there as well. Somebody else there falling off, but is that a legal skip? I imagine it might be. It looks like they're going to have to take some time to get ready as they make their right turn there into the snake pit proper there, Croncy.
Yeah, that should mostly be fine. But yeah, a lovely dismount, if you will, off the side there. It was very interesting when we got this one last year, as you were to sort of jump onto the pipe from that angle. So now jumping off from the pipe onto the track is kind of interesting. It's a nice little look there. But yeah, here we go. We'll try to get an update of exactly where everyone is positioned at the moment. I'm not sure if our leaderboard on the left there is quite accurate at the moment as to where everyone's positioned. So the second that we know, we will let you guys know.
That's right. So far, so good. Look at that white car again, picking up speed, going for the overtake there, spinning them around, and RKO out of nowhere, bouncing off the bonnet. We'll see if they manage to stick that landing there in 0.4 Gs. That was Herbie and Ludox. So Blackhawks and Punch Nomis, they're neck and neck in first and second. Semper Prime right there in third place as well. Looks like all the names that we called out before are just that in the lead there. Isotope racing for themselves in fourth place there as well, Croncy.
Yeah, so far my prediction looking pretty good. We've got Punch Nomis and Star Prime Racing both currently in the top 3. So I'm 2 out of 3 at the moment. But Blackhawks are, of course, an absolutely insanely impressive team. So not surprised that they're up there as well. But we've got so much race left. Once again, this is a 5-lap race in this location, and we're only really just past halfway on the first lap, if that. It's a bit of a long track. So
ooh, look at that vehicle on the left-hand side there, Croncy. Looks like maybe they might have lost some speed taking that inside corner, but they actually kind of managed to accelerate, but still conceding that one slot there. Now in fourth place, I do believe that white buggy there, that white and blue one, might be Herbie, unless we have 2 in that leading pack.
Very possibly, yeah. I do imagine, yep. Oh, no, that was Isotope, yes. Herbie is a little bit further ahead. So that is Isotope from Venture Origins, number 2, I believe. And there with a small little collision. Luckily, when you collide at these speeds with the Cyclone RC, you're only sort of punished with a little bit of a time loss and a lovely little, G-force reactions as you spin yourself around. But yeah, Venture Prime Origins, number 2, our only team in the System 7 this year that is a solo player. So absolutely fantastic to see them already number 4 on this racetrack, and looks like they just overtook 2 of our races there. We had a little bit of a change, so we'll get that updated for you once we do. But not surprised that you can sort of see just there. I believe that is Herbie way out in the back on the left side. well ahead of the rest of the competition.
That's right. It looks like a race for second place at this point here, but what a race it is, tumbling over these rocks. Bless CIG for making the collision of some of the rocks here a little bit less important here, shall we say? Because it is making for a much better race altogether.
Yeah, as we said, this racetrack is one of our safer ones for sure, and one of the more interesting ones because of sort of just all the elements it has. It's not like our short circuits that have a bunch of quick turns. Herbie, with our first lap completion, 6 minutes and what was that, 13 seconds? 6 minutes and 13 seconds.
That's
fantastic fantastic start for race number 3. We'll see who brings it up a second place. A reminder as well that just because you're ahead right now doesn't mean you're going to be ahead in like 20 seconds time if you fall off the pipe. And I think that's one of the big advantages to having the pipe section right at the start of the track.
That's right. Imagine the pipe towards the end and then just losing it all in the last second. That would not be great.
That certainly happened to a lot of people. And Adventure Origins number 2, Isotope, also currently in second place position, 27 seconds behind Team Punch Nobis with Herbie. I am very impressed. Well done so far, Venture Origins. This is Isotope. This is very impressive. I'm
right.
jotting you down in my memory banks of like the 3 names of people that I remember.
We got our 2 frosty skinned vehicles here in first and second place. Is there something about that blue and white skin, Croncy, that makes our races faster?
You see, when you use the base Cyclone without the skins, you're actually punished by the snake pit gods for being the same type, the same color as the pipe. So
that makes so much sense.
Mistake you for the pipe. I don't know what I'm saying. You can't tee me up for a joke like that and not have anything.
I love this shot so much, Croncy.
Yeah. We got half of our field in lap number 2 already. Punch Nobis in first, Venture Origins in second, Blackhawks in third, Capcom Alpha 4th, Star Prime Racing 5th, Amarok's Fang 6th, Novak Racing 7th, Lease Motorsport in 8th, and some of our teams are coming up into second lap now. This is what I was talking about as well with the pipe, sort of bringing everyone closer together. It kind of works a little bit like a safety lap in regular F1, where everyone sort of stays in the same position, but it brings everyone a bit more up to pace. So it's not fully the same, like, everyone's not right on top of each other, but it's a little bit of a change, which is nice, as we already have Team Punch Nobis finishing the pipe on lap number 2 with a bit of a flourish.
Buggy's having a bit of a tantrum there with the dismount, as you mentioned, but they're back onto that right turn and going into the snake pit proper now, Croncy.
Yeah, so a solid start. So we looked at, we're probably looking at an average of about 8 minutes for a lap completion for our team, which means we are looking at about a 40-minute race today for our teams. And this is one of the ones, well, while it's not a short circuit and it's not really like proper endurance, it can feel a little bit endurance-y. It's right. 40 minutes is a long time to be paying real close attention to where all your competitors are, to be trying not to fall off the pipe, because I very much imagine that a lot of our races are, they get the jitters with their hands the second they're on the pipe, trying to make sure they don't fall off. There's one thing we didn't talk very much about. I said, the Cyclone RC no longer has the traction that it did when we participated in this last year. The big thing that impacts on the pipe is, some of you will know, the Cyclone RC used to essentially be able to go 90 degrees up a wall, which was very useful on the pipe. It means that you were able to sort of skirt along the side of the pipe really easily. You could attempt to take the other one when you get past
overtake
the person in front of you.
Overtake.
Overtake. You can attempt an overtake a lot more consistently and a lot less riskily, and you just can't do that here. So if you do have like an accidental turn while you're on the pipe, it's sending you over. It's almost certainly sending you over. And while we haven't had any footage of, in lap number 2 of that happening, I imagine it has, same as it happened in lap number 1, because it's a really no mistakes allowed instance on the track.
Yeah, and I do believe that's to do with the fact that CIG in the past couple of years have done a wheel physics uh, shift up. Actually, they're now using something
Mhm.
called Pace JKA, and I do believe that is the exact same model that is used in actual like racing sims like iRacer and such. So the
Interesting.
wheels acting the way they do on the pipe and not having that crazy biker mice from Mars like traction. That's all like a
Mhm.
physically calculated. Now the problem is, I guess, is that now that we have this amount of like a fidelity, you now scale it
Mhm.
back. CIG this all the time, right? Like go as far as you can the realm of reality, and then scale it back to the realm of fun. So, do you
Yeah.
reckon they're gonna go ahead and make it so that the RC is a little bit safer, or where do you see this going?
I think that's an interesting question. I think it's always going to be a lot safer than it used to be. Just in general, its handling and its survivability has increased, and I think even when we get the boost back, whenever that may be, I don't think it's too much of an issue. I don't think it'll be too much of an issue for that stuff. So
Right.
we'll see what happens with that. But I do need to say this should be theoretically Herbie. It's either Herbie or Venture Origins with those skins. So this is Herbie finishing lap number 3 with a sub 6 minute, 5 minutes, 53 seconds, just barely 0.995. Great lap
That
number
is,
2 for Herbie and
yeah.
extending that lead ever so more. I wonder how far away Capcom Alpha is. We should find out any moment.
That's right, making short work of their 6 minute, 12-second lap from before. 5:53 is very close to what their team member, their track member, mentioned that they were going to be getting. I believe
Mhm.
that Gerbo said something about maybe perhaps Herbie getting like 5 minutes 40 or something. So we'll see. This may not be
Okay.
his fastest lap yet.
True that. In fact, that is Herbie looking to about to lap someone on the pipe, possibly
Ooh,
right up there. So already, first through 16th, massive extension there. I do think this is Wildcards Racing, as they only finished their second lap pretty recently. I do wonder where Argo and Navis are. Maybe they've had a couple of issues with the pipe, and getting it. Actually, there we go. They just finished their first lap. So Argo and Navis a little bit far behind, unfortunately, but still tons of time for them to try to get a couple of paces up. You definitely should be able to try to fight Wildcards Racing. They're only a little bit further ahead, but yeah, a couple of races lapped for Team Nobbies. Now, we also saw Capcom Alpha, Blackhawks, Venture Origins, and Amarok's Fang have also completed their lap number 2. And for reference, our lap number 2, or where our position is between Herbie. So they finished in 12:07 is where they finished their second lap. Capcom Alpha finished their second lap 12:57. So a full 50 seconds difference between first and second.
wow.
Yeah.
Yes, Team Punch Nomies are really pushing it to the limit. You can see why Herbie and Gerber the Gnome have kind of joined forces this season to create
Mhm.
this behemoth of a front runner team. Croncy, it is
Yep.
pretty ridiculous the times that they're pulling for all these races. But these guys, these are our premier racers. These are the fastest ground
Mhm.
racers in the verse, and for good reason. People in chat who maybe think I could do better than that. Well, let's see you next season. Let's do it.
Yeah, come qualify. You know what? I agree. I think you can, but show me. So yeah, there we go. As we're into lap number 3, we have Punch Nomies in first currently, Capcom Alpha in second, Blackhawks in third. That's going to round out your podium currently, but we've still got 3 laps to go. We have Venture Origins, Amarok's Fang, Novak Racing, Star Prime Racing, Lease Motorsports, Garden Racing, and Delta Dietis, who are only 3 seconds behind each other. So a big fight there. Premier Core Colonial, Eva Ria, SPG Racing, AAWA, Wildcards, and rounding out our 16, we have Argo Navis.
That's right. Everybody up till 8th place gets up to, I believe, 2 points. Everybody else gets just
Yes.
1 point. So it's not necessarily just about first place. First place gets 25 points. Second gets 18.
Mhm.
Third gets 12. Fourth gets 8. And fifth gets 6. Sixth gets 4. 7 gets 3. And 8th gets 2. So like there are a
Yep.
lot of points here to fight for. Yeah, this pipe seems to be very interesting because like did this actually limit Herbie here, or was he able to overtake, or did he actually have a problem?
I very much doubt that Herbie attempted to attempted to overtake on the pipe. It's like I said, it's just too risky. I'm not sure if that's Herbie falling off now.
I
I'm
think
not
that is
sure
Herbie there slipping
exactly what
off.
position we're looking at. It could be. It could be. What I do want to say is a reminder to everyone that if we do have explosions or we do have DNFs, the way that we calculate it is if you've completed at least 90% of the race, wherever you essentially finish when you DNF is where we will count your position. If you complete less than that, then you may be essentially, you'll still get points, but you'll be deducted points. You'll essentially get half points. And we saw that happen a lot in race number 1. With that being said, I don't think we're going to see any DNFs on this track. Like I said, I don't believe we saw any DNFs last year for this track, maybe one.
Right.
Because it's a much safer track. So that's always nice. And it also means that it's a more consistent track for you to get points. So this is the kind of track that you really want to make sure you get a top 8 in so you can, hold on to all of that, all those points. And speaking of, if Punchnomi's pick this up, this is a back-to-back first place for them. That would be absolutely insane. That would put them so far ahead of the pack. And
we have
okay, I'm just
an
not going to talk.
incident. Uh-huh.
I'm just never going to talk again.
Yes,
because apparently,
I
as I
mean-
said that, yeah.
Take it away, Cronzy.
yeah, literally, as I was talking about, we're not going to see any DNF. Someone DNF'd. It's almost like they were listening to me and they were like, "Oh yeah, really? Huh? Watch this." So we'll try to find out what happened to Premier Core Colonial, ladies and gentlemen. We know they're a crowd favorite, so very unfortunate that we're getting a DNF there. Not sure if it was an explosion or maybe some wheels lost or something like that. Although you don't tend to lose wheels on the Cyclone particularly much anymore. But good news for Wildcards and Argo, who are at the back of the pack. They've got a little bit of a buffer now to get themselves that little bit closer to top 8.
That's right. Commiserations again to 1cc. We'll get some finalization from our track organizers in a second to know exactly what happened with them. But for now, we do know that they are out of the race. I saw a teal blue car on the slope to the right-hand side there. I'm not sure if that was them, but it did seem stationary.
It sounds like possibly we've had a flipped Cyclone. I'm just getting like a little bit of information. It's possible we've had maybe a flipped Cyclone and then they've abandoned the Cyclone. That's what I'm hearing. I have no idea if that's 100%, but that is what I'm seeing, guys. So very unfortunate for Premier Core Colonial, but that is the nature of the pipe. It sounds like that's where it happens. So sometimes
I see. Now that makes me wonder, honestly. Yeah. Because, like, the Cyclone, most ground vehicles have this auto-writing technology. We've seen it happen a bunch of times now as the vehicles have come off the pipe. But yes, I do feel as if, if auto-writing doesn't work, then you can use your tractor beam. But it does seem like a matter of they fell off the pipe a few times too many, and they decided to forfeit.
I am getting a little bit of information. It sounds like we may see Herbie actually assist one of our other competitors who needs a bit of a bump on the pipe. They may be stuck, so that's actually super interesting. That might be a story that we'll have to hear about after the race, but it's always cool to see, hey, I want you to have a good race too, so I might assist you with just trying to make sure you have a good time. And speaking of Herbie,
sportsmanship
we have 3 races
in my race
in lap number 4 right now. So Punchnomi's, Blackhawks and Catcom Alpha. Right now, I'm rooting for Venture Origins. I'm hoping they can push it back up a little bit and get to that podium now. We saw Team Punchnomi's with a 18 minutes and 5 seconds total time for lap number for race currently. Blackhawks had a 19:11, so that's a minute and 6 seconds slower than Herbie. Crazy.
Wow.
And then Catcom Alpha only 4 seconds behind Team Blackhawks. So really, really close race for second right now. That's wild.
It's insane. And yes, all 3 teams currently in first, second, and third have a handful of points as well. So should they stay where they are right now, they're going to be kicking way past the rest of the pack moving forwards into the System 7 here, Croncy.
Mhm.
Especially we mentioned Blackhawks and Catcom Alpha. Looking back at the points here, Blackhawks again, they won race 1 with 25 points. They have 26 on the board, making it so that they're currently drawing with Punchnomi's. Should they come in second here, they're going to be sticking and staying in second place here. Catcom have 20 points as well. Coming out with 12 points in third place will keep them also in a very comfortable third place, Croncy. So as you said, yeah, Venture Origins, hopefully, they pull something out the bag here. Otherwise, these top three are really going to pull ahead of the pack here.
Yeah. Some teams that I really want to talk about a little bit. Garden Racing, Azon Keel, even though they're currently coming 10th, had a 5-minute 55-second lap, only 2 seconds behind our current best. Sorry, not our best, but only 2 seconds behind our current leader's best lap, Herbie, with a 5:53. Our current best lap, as far as I can tell today, is from Space Tech from Delta Dietis. So even though these teams are a little bit further back on the leaderboard, don't discount them yet. Any mistake, these guys are incredibly fast. They will make that difference.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, like Herbie does have the 5:53, but as you mentioned, like we do have times like Space Tech with 5:49. We have Garden Racing's Azen Keel as well with 5:55. You got some fast races here, man.
Yeah, who'd have thought that these guys know how to drive well?
Who'd have thunk it? They only had to qualify to become the fastest racers in the verse to make their way here. But it's really cool to see this, man. It's awesome.
It is. It really, really is. Some great fights as well in the middle, it looks like. Once again, obviously, we can't get like full views of everyone at all times, but it looks like based on times, we've got people like Gravity Cat and Isotope right on top of each other, right? Venture Origins 2 and Amorosfang right on top of each other. We have Argo Navis and Catcom Alpha pretty close to each other. We have Star Prime Racing and Delta Dietis right on top of each other. So not much difference between these guys as the laps have been going ahead. But important to note as well, we are going to see Herbie very, very soon cross the line for the final lap. So we're in the end game, ladies and gentlemen. Who's going to take it?
That's right. Herbie making some short work of this track, but we do have some racers still all the way back in lap 2, so it's not the end of the day just yet, Croncy.
Yes, very much so. I do like to see, once again, we have in a lot of the endurance races, we usually see a lot of the packs separate a lot further out. We have so many people on the same lap right now. All of our top top 11 right now on the same lap is actually kind of crazy at this stage. Usually it divides a lot faster. And you can actually kind of see a lot of those are the lights of the Cyclones going around there right now, those little dots. So you can see it's spread out just within one lap, pretty much.
That's right. I love this aerial view, by the way. I'd love to see some name tags here, but in 323, have you seen the new Medivac beacons?
No, I have not. I've seen the new contract manager.
Right. So there's a new item that you can find in 323, and it's called a medical beacon. And it's like a red square. And you can turn it on and put it on the floor. And it makes a light just like this that you can deploy on the floor, so like a medic can see where you are, or like you can like signal to your friends. Just seeing this just made me think about it. Like it looks like that blue light that I believe is the Mirai Fury flying to the east of the track here.
Yep, I would imagine so. In that time, ladies and gentlemen, Punchnomi's have crossed the finish line to go into lap number 5. I believe that is their light there that we see in the top left, just about to go up the hill before turning left onto the pipe for the final time today. As long as they don't fall off that pipe, I think we're going to see them finish it up first place. But I've already jinxed someone today, so I'm going to try to not do that anymore. The question is, where are we going to be in second place position? We're going to see Blackhawks and Capcom Alpha come over the finish line pretty soon. I'm really curious to see exactly where they're positioned because, like I said, they were only a couple of seconds behind each other a little bit earlier.
Ooh.
And the difference between second place and third place is quite a bit of points. It's 6 whole points. And that can make all the difference at the end of the day. So there we go. Blackhawks are going to cross the finish line at 25 minutes and 17 seconds. And I think that light on the right side there is going to be Capcom Alpha that I see going under the pipe right now. It was not. It was AAWA Drunken Racing. So actually, it looks like there's a bit of an extended distance there now between Blackhawks and Capcom. So yeah,
There's
there we
Capcom
go.
there
So
now.
maybe Blackhawks are able to hold on to that. Still enough of a distance between them that you can't afford many mistakes. You certainly cannot afford a mistake on the pipe because that would be super rough. But yeah, we may be looking at a podium now. Venture Origin's a lot closer to Capcom Alpha, though.
That's right. Capcom is going to have to keep watching their back there because Venture is right behind them, and the points do fall off sharply after third place.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it did turn out that Herbie from Punch Nomies ended up assisting another teammate in that last lap. So there was a little bit of a change up in the distance. Previously, it was I think 1 minute 6 seconds between first and second. This time it was just under a minute difference between the two competitors. Still an insane lead that we've seen from Team Punch Nomies. But that pack that is in that second, third, fourth pack, by their own right, incredibly far ahead amongst the entire field.
That's right, and still going strong here into this lap. I just love the dismounts off the pipe here. I'm just waiting for an explosion, Croncy. Where are my kabooms, man?
Don't be waiting for an explosion. What are you doing? So I do want to say here, I think we also just saw a fix happen. I think there was a moment that Argo Navis's lap had been miscounted. So that's been fixed now. So don't worry, Argo Navis didn't have a 56-second lap. That would be kind of wild. But it sounds like they're in the correct position now, hopefully. So remember, as always, we'll double check that all of these numbers are correct, all of the times are correct, and you know where everyone is positioned. So even when we're commentating right now, the big important thing to remember is once we finish the race and once we confirm everyone's positions, that's when we lock in the leaderboard.
That's right. Everything you see here, the overlays and everything, they're not officially from CIG. That's our team, and that's scr.gg, putting things together for you guys to see what's going on a little bit better. And, you know, like, as awesome as it is, sometimes, you know, we have a few glitches. So thank you for bearing with. But it is an awesome tool to have regardless. And yeah, it still seems like Punch Nomies there is still in the lead. We're now following them with a Pop and Freedom camera here. And they're pretty much just home free. They're a couple turns away here from the end of lap 5 here, Croncy.
They are indeed. Not very long for them now. Punch Nomies first place, Blackhawks second, Capcom Alpha third, Argo Navis fourth, Venture Origins fifth, Delta Dida sixth, Amarok's Fang seventh, Star Prime eighth. That is currently, we believe, our top 8 going into the final lap. Like I said, we will confirm all of the times and all of the things. Apparently, we're having some party issues at the moment as we get into this. But yeah, this is essentially the final turn for Punch Nomies. This is, I've got to say, when I play this track in Arena Commander, my least favorite part of this entire track, and I hate it because you always end up in Gravlev like 100,000 feet in the air every time you get into this section. But much easier in the Cyclone. Luckily, the Cyclone doesn't tend to do that.
Yeah, I've always wondered why the Gravlevs kick up like that sometimes. Like, I've never been able to predict it, you know, like when they fly into the sky like that.
Yep. Once you do the tracks enough, you can sort of get an understanding of it. A lot of it has to do, especially on here, with the gravity. The gravity that is on Clio is very light, and so the Gravlevs decide that, you know, maybe they want to be a Fury LX today instead of a Dragonfly or whatnot.
Checks out.
You can you can, if you get your perfect lines, which, you know, with Arena Commander, luckily you can practice enough, even with explosions, that you can get those lines right, you can sort of predict where you're going to end up or where you can avoid those heights, but it is incredibly difficult, incredibly
Right.
difficult. And even a lot of the pros, some of the people that have the highest speeds on the official StarCitizen leaderboards will even tell you, like, some attempts you just throw because you messed up a turn. And speaking of pros, Punch Nomi's Herbie crossing our finish line first of the day. Well done, with a total race time of 30 minutes and 14 seconds.
Congratulations once again to Team Punch Nomis. I mean, like, again, is anybody surprised by these guys, by the performance throughout the System 7? A little bit.
I feel like Herbie is the Max Verstappen of the Cyclone CR. Cyclone RC, rather.
The Max of a Stappen?
Max Verstappen. You know who Max Verstappen is, right?
No.
Oh.
I'm a StarCitizen player.
Well, you do know who Herbie is. So Max Verstappen is the Herbie of F1, if that helps you.
Oh, that makes so much
you,
more
Miles.
sense. Yes. That makes so
well
much
done,
more
Herbie.
sense.
Congratulations on winning that one, and for helping another player during your attempt. It was fantastic to hear that you were doing that, to make sure, you know, some of our competitors still have a good time. So yeah, very, very well.
That's
done.
right. And once tallied up, ooh, there we go. There's Ludox now in second place there for Blackhawks with a time of 31 minutes, 23 seconds, 0.413, which leaves Catcom Alpha and Argo Navis back to back here. We'll see how they do because, well, again, third place is 12 points. So that's a lot of points for Catcom too. There we go. All right. Signed, seal, delivered. There's Endomaster in third place.
Followed very closely behind by Argo Navis, with only a 4-second difference there between fourth and third. So a big fight there, especially with, you know, once again, how slow these Cyclone RCs are nowadays. 4 seconds is really close. Like, it's very, very, very close. We can sort of see already here, we've got some players coming on down. Isotope.
There's Isotope
Coming in back. There we go. I wonder what happened there. I wonder why. Oh no, we're just looking from the other side. I'm so not used to.
You thought they were reversing?
My brain. I'm so not used to seeing the Stanton Star on that side of the track that I thought we were looking from the other side. No, yes, Venture Origins with a regular forwards finish, not reversing.
There we go.
Well done, Venture Origins, 5th place. Delta Didus in 6th.
That's right, but you got a massive pack. They're getting in back-to-back there. Argo Navis, Venture Origin, Delta Didus Racing. We still have several more cars still in a lap 5. We've got Garden Racing, Lease Motorsports, Evaria, and Wildcards, however, still in lap 4 as well. So there's still more race to be had. And there's Lease now in lap 5.
Yeah. A reminder, yeah, very important for us to see 7th and 8th position, because those are the only other ones. Everyone else will essentially get 1 point. So the only other ones that really matter. And there we go. Amarox Fang picking up 7th place. 8th place is going to get 2 points. So that's our last major finish for the day. We'll see if that is in fact Star Prime Racing, or if Novak Racing can get themselves a little bit further. You can see here, we've got Sit coming around. We've got Azon Keel, and we've got Semper Prime not too far behind. The only way this doesn't go Sit's way is if there's a collision, but Azon Keel coming in very quick. Maybe they can steal that one. Who knows?
There we go. Yes, that's Azon Keel running up on the heels there, like 100 meters away, but that's super close.
It's a big damage on the back of Azon Keel there. I'm noticing in the top right.
Yeah. All right, there's Site Zero there, coming in for 8th place, which is going to give them 2 points.
There we go. Star Prime Racing are going to cross the finish line first. They're going to get that 8th place position. And there is your top ace for race number 3. Those are all your major positions. We're going to see if everyone else can get across the finish line. It's always good to see where you are based on the rest of the competition. But there is our top 8. Those are our leaderboard positions. So all of them get a ton of extra points. Obviously, Punch Nomi, Blackhawks, and Capcom getting the bulk of them and putting them into some great positions. Team Punch Nomis and Blackhawks, I believe, they were equal first going into today. So
they were.
Punch Nomis now get a little bit of a not a head start. They get a little bit of distance away from Black Ops, a little bit more comfortable going into race number 4 in 2 weeks' time. But I mean, the top places are heating up. If Punch Nomis and Black Hawks keep getting consistent podium finishes, once we get to race number 7, we may be seeing we may see a change. Like anytime we get into a race number 7 and it's not set in stone who first place is, it's fantastic. You know what I mean?
That's right. It's still
competition there. Yeah.
Still very much anybody's game here, Croncy, for sure. I mean, like, I'm just glad that my pick, Blackhawks, came in second place. You know, of course, you had to choose Punch Nomis. Of course you did. but yeah, Blackhawks, they're coming in second. I do believe that this victory from Punch Nomis there, giving them the 25 points, will now set them apart to, I believe, 51 points, which is a very healthy lead there.
Sorry, we just saw someone fall off the side on camera as we were coming around, I think. But yeah. Look at those fastest laps, by the way. Once again, Argo Nevis did not have a 52-second lap. Don't worry about it too much. It was just a correction from a uncounted lap earlier. But 5 minutes, 53 seconds for Herbie's fastest lap. Absolutely insane. Crazy, crazy fast. And not even our best lap of the day. Our best lap of the day from Space Tech with Delta Dietis Racing, really showing that they can perform.
That's right. And really, all it takes is just, like an unfortunate event happening, sometime along the track. Maybe you catch a couple of rocks. Maybe you fall off a pipe during one of the laps, and all of a sudden, you're not doing so good. Again, this is all about consistency, as you said before. This, and also the RSI links track as well will be tracks to look out for when it comes down to testing our racers' mettle and consistency.
Yeah, exactly. Overall, this has been an absolutely fantastic race. Once again, I love to see it when we have the majority of our races finish. Anytime we get to see that is awesome. It's fantastic. So well done to all of our competitors. Still a couple of races to come on through. I wonder if we'll see another PB from a couple of our races for their fastest laps. For reference, AAWA Drunken Total, their fastest lap is a 6:56. Elise Motorsports, their fastest is a 7:16. So maybe we'll see if we can get a sub 7 minutes for that team. Eva Ria have a 7:34. Once again, we'll see if we can get a sub 7. Garden Racing, who we saw complete their lap just moments ago. Their fastest lap is a 5:55. We got to check that out before. So we've obviously had a pipe collision or fall over or whatnot there.
Yes.
Because that's an incredibly fast lap regardless. And Wildcards Racing, their fastest lap today was a 6:48. So some pretty solid laps from them as well. So I imagine a lot of the issues have been the falling off the pipe. We did hear about some vehicles getting either stuck on the pipe or stuck elsewhere. That thankfully we've had some of our other competitors assist just to make sure that they can complete laps, which is lovely. Love to hear it. But we'll see what they can bring up for the end of it, and we'll see what they can bring up in 2 weeks' time. Where Maya, I'm not going to be here, so you're going to have to. I'm
not going solo dolo, am I? I mean, I hope Crucian's gonna be here with me. I mean, on my own. But yeah,
I would imagine you'll have a co-caster, but I'm gonna need you to give me the lowdown. You know what I mean? I'm gonna need you to give me the good summary over what happens in 2 weeks' time. Because once again, it is also our second double race day, which this System 7 is the first time that we've ever done double race days. Our first double race day went pretty smoothly. Organization was great. The races were fantastic. They managed to get into the positions really well. I think we did 2 races, which included 6 races as part of the second race in 4 hours. So 7 races in 4 hours, I think we did.
We did great,
really impressive. So I'm hoping we can see the same thing.
I'll be sure to give you the lowdown, though, Croncy. I'll be like, oh, you missed it. Kopi and Dundee showed up.
On Orison? What?
It was magical. But yeah, I think we just got another race to come through. That was Drunken Turtles making it through in 11th place there. We now have just 5 more racers to make their way through to finish off, or 4 more racers even, to finish
Yes.
off
4 more.
this third race here.
Yeah, well done to all the competitors. A fantastic race today, and very entertaining as well. I love watching this one. Hopefully, we got some boost. I want to see this race again with some boost. It's a lot more enjoyable, especially when they're on the pipes, Maya, and they're boosting along the pipes.
Oh yeah.
it feels
I mean, like, I would love to see. I would love to see the RC get some air with that boost at some point. You know, like especially in these low G moons, just get some hang time there with it, like we had before back in the Stanton 7 and the AC 141 racetrack. You know, like that boost management was make or break for a lot of our racers there.
Yes. Least Motorsports also crossing the line. 3 races to go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get some big clap emotes in every chat, whether you're on, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, just streaming on your Nokia 7300, I don't know, whatever you're seeing. Let's get some hype for our competitors for competing today. And thank you all for being here for this awesome race. We've got Garden Racing also finishing number 13. We've got Eva Ria and Wildcards still on the track. I believe this may be a Wildcards that we're watching right now, who essentially just got past the first turn after the pipe.
That's right. And no matter where you placed 1st through 16th, know this, you guys are some of the fastest racers in the verse. Every single one of you. Thank you so much. And also, thank you again, everybody in chat, for the energy here as well. I love to see the support for all our racers, including we got some hype there for Mach 10 as well, or Mach X. You guys have to tell me, is it Mach X or Mach 10? Somebody let me know.
Yeah, we need some clarification for sure.
There we go. But we still have Eva Ria and Wildcards Racing still on the track as our last 2 races. And I think they're right by each other as well. You can see Eva Ria snagging a couple rocks there. Wildcards on the approach will overtake seconds before they're able to manage to get through. Oh, there we go. Okay. And it looks like
we're having a fight for 14th. I actually love this. This is fantastic. This is really, really cool to see. So yeah, we've got Saito from Eva Ria. Was in the cyclone that was a little bit ahead. So yeah, Eva Ria currently ahead of Wildcards. Yep.
You love to see it, man. Like, even at the 0th hour, we still have a whole bunch of fights to be had here. And we're getting confirmation. It's Mac Cross.
Mark Cross. Mark Cross. Love it. We will we'll make sure to say it like that every time now. So interesting. Our last 2 teams that are left, Eva Ria and Wildcards Racing. Eva Ria, fastest lap for Saito was a 7-minute 34 seconds, but for Gilly from Wildcards Racing, a 6 minutes 41 seconds. So a 53-second difference between their fastest laps. As I had been saying earlier, I imagine part of that comes from some falling off the side of the pipe, or possibly some of those collisions that we were talking about where some of our racers went and helped people flip over, which, even though these vehicles don't flip over as much as they used to, for sure, they can still get themselves into some prickly situations. I think we even saw during our qualifiers, the PTV itself can also get itself into like some situations that needs to be flipped over.
How is this so close?
I don't know how this is so close, but this is great. I love it. I love a nice little fight for last. So this is the final turn before it's sort of that wide berthing turn that comes through before the finish line.
They are
So
literally
there's a lot of
neck
hills
and
in
neck
this
here,
section, but
Crunchy.
once they get over that one, sorry?
They're literally neck and neck here, Crunchy.
Yeah. Literally top. Wait, is that 3? No, I think I was seeing a shadow of something. I think the other one may have been a shadow of a ship, possibly. It was hard to tell. I think it is. No, yeah, we saw 3. What was that 3rd cyclone doing there?
Not too sure, but regardless, we still do have 2 cyclones real close to one another here coming through. Not sure now whether or not this is Wildcards or Eva Ria. Either way, they're coming now towards the last section here of lap 5.
The finish line. Let's give it up on their final approach into the finish line, ladies and gentlemen. Eva Ria and Wildcards. Not sure who is who at the moment, but a fantastic output from all of our races today. and a fantastic fight for, 14th and 15th place. Here we go, crossing the finish line right now. Wildcard Racing, bring it in. Managed to snag number 14. Eva crossing the finish line right now and grabbing 15th place. Congratulations, everyone. That deserves a clap from me for sure. There you go.
Very well done, everyone. And that has been a race 3 here on one of Microtech's Boon's Clio. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating. That was awesome. And again, Herbie from Punch Nomi's, Blackhawks, Catcom Alpha, you guys did phenomenally today. And I look forward to seeing what you guys do in the weeks to come.
Yeah, so here you go. Here is how today went, ladies and gentlemen. We have Herbie from Team Punch Nobies in first place, Ludox from Black Hawks in second, and a Master from Catcom Alpha in third. Something just exploded in the background there, but that's okay. The race is over now. We're all good. Argo Navis, Venture Origins 2, Delta Dietis picking up 4th, 5th, and 6th respectively. And Amarok's Fang and Star Prime Racing are going to round out your top 8. And remember, the top 8 is where you want to be if you want to get leaderboard points. And speaking of, ladies and gentlemen, I've been told that a leaderboard is ready. Shall we have a look at how today has evolved, how it has changed the leaderboard? Race number 3, well and truly into the System 7, Maya. Here we go.
There we are.
Punch
There it
Nobies,
is.
51 points. You were right on the money. Your calculations were correct, Maya. Punch Nobies, 51 points. First
Math.
place, a solid lead over the field. Blackhawks with 44 points, securing that second place today. Catcom Alpha with 32 points. A very solid top 3 at the moment. But Delta Dietis, Amarok's Fang very close behind with some great opportunities to get themselves back into that top 3. Lease Motorsports and Argo Navis, very solid places to be to solidify themselves in the top 8, likely for the rest of the System 7. And then a couple of our other teams grabbing a couple of points just to keep them in the running.
That's right. And with this being only race 3, there's still plenty more to fight for here in our run-up to, of course, race 7, the Louisville Loop. And yeah, like look at these racers here, Croncy. Look at all these points, man. Like Punch Nomis are doing some good work so far, but again, I mean, like one bad race, and all of a sudden, Delta Dietis, Amarok's Fang, they're still well in the running here. And then again, look at that, from 12th through 16th. Everybody has. Everybody has points here. So all it will take is one good race and you're back in it to win it, especially in 2 weeks' time where there are 2 races. So 2 whole chances, 2 opportunities to get a maximum of 50 points, right? That's going to be something to see for sure.
Yeah, race number 4 and 5 is going to drastically alter what we're seeing here today. And that's one of the things that I really like about the double race days is the leaderboard just goes crazy. It just everything changes, and it makes the makes the stakes a little bit more fun, which is great. Now, before we head off, ladies and gentlemen, I want to once again remind you guys about the awesome event coming up on June 8th. Did I get it right this time? Did I get it right this time?
June 8th?
June 8th. There we go. Which is our Avenger Squadron X ATMO Esports Flight for Kids charity tournament. This is essentially like Fight or Flight that we've been doing over the course of the last few years, but for charity. So if you guys want to donate right now and get a head start, you can go !kids if you're in the Twitch chat and get going there. It's going to be a great tournament. We're going to have master modes. We're going to have private lobbies, so we're going to also get to see a bunch of stuff from 323 sort of showcased off for the first time in a really competitive setting. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's right. Some extra info on that as well. The money being raised is for the Sick Kids Children's Hospital in Canada, and the goal there is to not only just raise money for general funding, but also for 2 sim kits. Essentially, they call them go-karts, but essentially they are these wheeled units that the kids can sit in to play a bunch of different console games and stuff like that. And I said it last week, and I'll say it again. As a former sick kid, maybe not from Canada, recovering in a hospital with a gaming, with like a Nintendo 64 was, I have those memories with me to this day. And that really helped me through a really bad time. So yeah, it's a really cool thing to see from Avenger Squadron and ATMO Esports coming together for the Flight for Kids charity tournament.
Yep. And if you want to find out more about these events or other events that ATMO Esports run, make sure to join us over on our Discord. Follow us over on all of our socials. And that way you can get all of that information, including things like leaderboard updates. Once we verify all of the times and all of the positions, as we normally do, you'll be able to check those up on Discord, on Twitter, pretty much wherever we post things on the socials. And even if you want to participate in the next event that we run, whatever that might be, whether it's the DMR Rally, whether it's the System 7, whether it's, Fight or Flight, we have a bunch of these different events that we run, and they're all a ton of fun. From me, thank you very much to everyone for watching today. Thank you so much to everyone working behind the scenes. Thank you so much to the racers for making this an absolutely super entertaining event. And thank you, Maya, for being my absolute lovely co-host. Appreciate it, as always.
Thank you for having me. It's been an awesome one, and you're going to be missed next week, Cronzy, for race number 4, when we go over the clouds into what I really thought would be, one of your favorite races to have, man. You're going to be missed.
Yeah. Race 4 and 5. Make sure you guys watch that one.
And 5, yes.
But that's it from us. Thank you very much. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Have a good one, everyone.
Peace.